You're going to lift arms. I'm recording you guys, just so you all are aware. Arms up into the sky. Nice big stretch of the body. Rolling out the wrists, shaking the hands. This allows us to release any trapped or stored trauma that might be in the body. This is why dancing also feels really good. Just moving any energy. And if you haven't already, you can open the eyes so that you know this call is being recorded. A replay will be getting sent out to anybody on my newsletter. If you are not on my newsletter, anyone that came late, please feel free to direct message me your email address, or there is a link there that Audrey posted if you'd like to sign up instead. So just be aware that anything that you share will also be going out to the replay. And I appreciate you, if that means that you don't want to share, then I honor and respect that. And there will be an opportunity to go deeper on all of these topics at the end. So if there's something that's really on your heart, but you don't feel like sharing it in a group, I will be offering some very special sessions at the end of this call. All right. So I'm Carrie O'Ray, and I am an alignment expert. And if you want to find out more about me, you can just go to my website. It's the same as my name that you can see up here on the screen, except no space and a .com at the end. And all those different ways that you might want to connect with me, you can find there. So I don't want to take a lot of time to go into all of the different certifications I've done and what's got me here today, because all of that can easily be found on my website. But I will tell you that alignment and choosing to focus my energy on alignment completely expanded my entire life. I went from being single and unhappily being single for all of my 30s, a whole decade, to meeting someone, falling in love, and getting married a year later on a year to the day of meeting each other. And we're in an incredible relationship. We bought a home together and moved in 9 months to the day after meeting. So when things are in alignment, they can happen really quickly, really easily. I think there were about 15 people that put offers on the house that we now live in. Ours was the one that was chosen. We weren't even the highest offer. It's because this home was in alignment for us. I've had wonderful transformation with my body. Something that I struggled with for my entire life was my weight and my body image. I was recently not that recently, it's been about 6 or 8 months now that I released 30 pounds, and I've maintained that weight loss. I love the way that I eat. I enjoy what I eat, and I really nourish my body. And I just love my body exactly the way that it is. And that is truly from also following alignment. I also left a 15-year career in nursing to pursue what I knew was in alignment for me, which was to support other people in their own alignment, support other people in optimal health and in truly, truly loving themselves. So really, alignment and choosing to focus my attention and my energy on what I was aligning in was the thing that expanded my entire life in all these different areas. And now that is my passion, is to support others in the same. So when we are out of alignment, we are usually in self-sabotage, right? Those things can't go together. You can't be in alignment and be in self-sabotage, right? So that's why, as an alignment expert, this topic of self-sabotage comes up really frequently and is a really important one. So my intention for today is to teach you guys how to get out of self-sabotage and into alignment. And my workshops are always really interactive. I don't want to just sit here and talk at you guys the whole time. So I'm going to be asking some questions. If you are able to come on camera, I would absolutely love that. And if you can't, I honor and respect where you're at. But you're going to get more out of this experience if you are able to engage and be on camera. So thank you to those that are choosing that right now. I'd love to hear from some of you. You came to this workshop on overcoming self-sabotage. Why is it important to know how to overcome self-sabotage? I'm going to call upon Amber. What do you think, Amber?
Yeah, hi. So yeah, like you said, you just can't be aligned and then also deal with self-sabotage. So I've noticed that when things are all of a sudden starting to come together and the puzzle is finally starting to make sense and I want it to make sense, then I'm like, oh, I have a really important meeting tomorrow. So let's, stay up super late just because like I have control of that. Or, like let's have one more glass of wine because I feel like I have control of that. And yeah, so I have self-sabotaged, not to the point like where the meetings like were totally off, but yeah, I was no longer like in my alignment. And I think that they could have went better if I would have just handled myself better.
Those are such amazing examples. I love that you have the awareness, and awareness is a very, very important first step. And we'll be going through the other steps, but thank you. Thank you so much for that. That was such a brilliant answer. James, is there anything that you'd like to share? What brings you to this workshop? Why is it important to know how to overcome self-sabotage? You are on mute, my friend. There you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems pretty obvious that if I'm self-sabotaging, that I'm not experiencing my greatest potential, and so that's sort of a given, and the reason why we're here today. I think what stands out for me is that I've really just been considering my life's trajectory, and got over. I'm still kind of in it, but I've just got over a big hump with litigation that I've been in for 5 years, and looking at this next phase of my life and wanting to be sure that I'm not that I'm reaching my highest potential, and that maybe self-sabotage is part of that process, or just being in a choice of a pattern that recreates itself may not be my highest expression. And so I'm doing some different reading and looking at some different things, and listening for, how I might bring more awareness to the plate, which usually is the doorway into transforming something. And so thank you for offering this workshop. This is a great opportunity, and I could speak a lot about it. Anyway, that's an introduction.
Thank you. Thank you, James. Wow, two really brilliant answers. Love it. Thank you. So the next question, so we know, I feel like, I mean, can everybody here agree that it's important to know how to overcome self-sabotage, right? That's why we're all here. We all see the importance of it. We see the value in it. So the next question, and I don't know if I'm going to let Ali Z answer this because she was in the last workshop, but what is self-sabotage? How would you define self-sabotage? And I'm going to call upon Kat this time. How would you describe it?
I think for me, self-sabotage looks and feels like keeping myself imprisoned in a life that doesn't fit for me anymore. And it's a way to keep me enslaved, and because I may not feel like I deserve to live a richer, more beautiful life. So
yeah. I can really feel that and resonate with that. Thank you. Love to hear from Nicole. What are your thoughts of what is self-sabotage? Oh, she went off camera. Did you go off camera on purpose?
Am I off camera?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. There you are. Hi, Nicole.
Yeah. Hi. I would say that it's a mechanism of limiting oneself. for me, I've seen it as more of like a subconscious like coping mechanism to keep myself small. And I guess I'm at a place where I have the awareness around it now. Like I can see where the self-sabotage is, but then I'm curious to see how I can find or notice more of like the subtle subconscious things that I'm maybe not aware of that really play into it, that are limiting my potential. Like I see where like I want to be, and I'm not really letting myself get there. So I guess for me, that's where the sabotaging comes in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wow, this is such a group of brilliant people, brilliant, aware, conscious people. That was an amazing answer. And you touched on the subconscious aspect of it, and so did Kat. And that's the definition of self-sabotage, is that it is the subconscious trying to keep us safe. That's all that it is.
What if the cats have assumed their position for the rest of the day?
Trudy, I'm going to mute you, sweetheart. So the subconscious trying to keep us safe is what creates self-sabotage, right? So it comes from this beautiful intention of safety and survival, right? But it's like an overreaction of our subconscious, because our subconscious perceives anything out of the ordinary, anything that is beyond the status quo, as potentially dangerous and life-threatening. So the subconscious wants to keep us in our comfort zone, keep us small. You guys might have heard that before, in order to keep us surviving. It doesn't care about us thriving. It doesn't care about our happiness. It doesn't care about our expansion. It just wants us to survive, right? I have a Dr. Joe Dispenza quote: 95% of who you are is a subconscious or even unconscious state of being. That means your conscious mind's 5% is working against the 95% of what you've memorized subconsciously. And the majority of our subconscious programming gets created in the first 7 years of our lives, when our brains are not fully functioning and we're incredibly egotistical, not to the point that, oh, we think we're so great, but that we think the world revolves around us, so that if anything wrong or bad happens, it's all our fault. We make it mean something about us. And so that's what's really going on, is there's this beautiful intention of the subconscious to keep us safe that is completely an over exaggeration of what we really need. So we actually have to go against that natural inclination in order to expand, in order to grow and thrive, right? So another question is, when does self-sabotage happen? And Nicole, you touched upon this a little bit. This often happens when we're reaching our upper limits. There's a whole book on this called Upper Limits that's brilliant. I just re-listened to it on Audible. And when we're getting to that point of expansion, of reaching that next evolution of us, it can be really, really scary for our subconscious, because we're going into uncharted territory and nothing looks the same as what it was before. So that's why so often it's when you're like really getting, I just coached somebody on this, like you're getting really intimate and close in a relationship, and you'll do something like this person I was talking to cheated on his partner, and he couldn't figure out why, because he loves his partner and she's wonderful and he wants things to work. But they were reaching that next level somewhere that he had never been before with a partner, and he self-sabotaged. And it's in a very unconscious way until you bring the awareness into it, which is exactly what we're going to talk about, right? Can you guys see, like Amber, you were also talking about, like, you have this meeting and it's like there's probably a potential for some kind of, I don't know, promotion or new thing, to like some kind of growth, and it's like amazing, and that's what you want with your conscious mind, and subconscious mind is like, whoa, that's scary as fuck. I don't want that. I'm just gonna stay here and keep safe. But that's not actually what you really want. That's not in your
No,
highest good.
that was perfect. That was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So thumbs up if you guys are getting this. You can do actual thumbs up or thumbs up on your reaction if you're not on camera. Okay, you guys are following. Awesome. So the question becomes not how to end self-sabotage, but how do we reprogram the subconscious mind, which is my jam. Us Cat, we do it every week. We're working on reprogramming the subconscious mind. I am obsessed with this because this is where the real change starts to happen, is on the subconscious level. So I created a formula to step you through this, because alignment and subconscious and the reprogramming, it can be kind of this like esoteric, fluffy, I want practical and I want efficient. And so I created this for myself, and this is the formula that I used to expand all areas of my life and continue to expand all areas of my life. And I'm going to share it with you guys today. And if anybody wants this written out, just send me, you can just send me an email when I send out the replay and I can send it to you. So step number 1 is awareness. So you need to uncover the root fear that is creating the self-sabotage. And we really want to get to the root. That's important, because usually there's like a surface level, something on the conscious level, right? Like, I just really like the taste of wine and I just really want another one, and I deserve to because I've had a hard day, or, you know, I should eat those donuts because they're not going to taste good tomorrow and I don't want to waste food. There's starving children in Africa or whatever, right? Those are the more surface level. We want to get to the root. Does anybody here have an idea of how you can do that? How you can get to the root of that? Yes, Amber. Take yourself off mute, my dear.
I would think maybe like light hypnotherapy could help.
That's definitely one of the answers, is getting some professional support through a coach, hypnotherapist, a therapist, having a friend hold space for you. If you don't have that available to you, I mean, I think that everybody should invest in themselves. And it's like one of the most amazing ways that you can support yourself is to have a professional support you through these kinds of things and holding space. And it really is like the highest form of self-care. That's my point of view. It's my opinion. I know some of you believe that because some of you have hired me, worked with me, and some of you are coaches like Ali and Tara. So we know the value in that. And Chrissy is a coach as well. And if that's not available to you for whatever reason, there's journaling. Taking pen to paper, allowing yourself to write out those thoughts, and not just those first surface level ones, right? So journaling, having it as a practice, allowing yourself to really uncover what is going on underneath there through the journaling, setting the intention to allow it to be uncovered and just writing it out, right? Yes, Audrey loves journaling. I love that. This is like free coaching that is available to you, right? Of course, there's certain advantages of having professional support, and that's not available to absolutely everybody, or for whatever reason you don't choose it, you always have journaling. So it's a really great place to start. And then also just bringing awareness to your thoughts day to day as you're moving through your life. Journaling is a great way to bring awareness to your thoughts. But at the same time, just as you're moving through life, being aware of what those thoughts are as you're, I love Amber's example. It's like the end of the day, you have a big meeting the next day, and you notice that, like, oh, I want a glass of wine. And then you notice those thoughts. I deserve it. The bottle's open anyway, or whatever those thoughts are. Just bringing attention to those and like really looking like, are these thoughts serving me or are they sabotaging me? Right? And if they're sabotaging you, you might want to choose something else that's just as authentic, but that's going to support you, right? Then as you're going through your exploration, again, if you have a coach, like with my clients, we're talking a lot about secondary gains. What are you gaining from this behavior that is sabotaging you, right? So again, having a coach, especially me, because I know a lot about this. I don't know if all coaches would ask you about secondary gains, but it's a good thing to look at. Like, well, what am I gaining from engaging repetitively in this behavior? Right? So I have some examples that are from like actual clients or from my own life. I had a client that recognized that she was having a lot of physical ailments coming up. And she was doing everything she could to try and overcome this, seeing doctors, taking medicines, doing all this stuff. What we uncovered in her session is that she had this deep subconscious belief that the only way that she would deserve attention and love is if there was something wrong. And so she was subconsciously creating reasons, dramatic reasons, that people would have to step up and take care of her and love her, right? So getting attention when you're sick, it's like you don't want to be sick, but if on some unconscious level you feel like that's the only way you'll get attention, you can see how you might create that consistently, right? Food. A lot of people, this comes up, this was me for a very, very long time. It's like you don't want to eat that third piece of pie. But what are you getting from that? Well, you're probably getting a distraction from feeling your emotions, because if you're super full and maybe even going into like guilt and shame, you're still not thinking about how lonely you are, right? So it can distract you from feeling your emotions. So those are just some examples. Another really big one that's also very personal for me, a secondary gain, is the fear of failure. Like if you really want to achieve something, but you notice that you're sabotaging yourself. Like I was doing this a lot in my business. I kept saying that I wanted to have more clients and I wanted to expand my business. But then when you looked at what I was spending my time and my energy on, it was like going grocery shopping, cooking, cleaning the house, exercising, like not bad things, good things, talking to friends on the phone, organizing the closet, like anything that wasn't like actually something that was going to produce money, clients, expansion of my business. Because I was able to uncover, I had a subconscious belief that if I really put all of my energy and my effort into my business and then it failed, then what was I going to do? because for so long, this had been my dream, was to do this kind of work. And what if I wasn't good enough? What if nobody actually wanted to hire me? What if I'd have to go back to nursing? I was so afraid of failing that I was in the place where I'd rather not even try than try and fail, right? Is this hitting a nerve? Is anybody resonating? Amber's saying yes. Can anybody think of an example that I didn't mention that now you're like, oh yeah? Nicole, would love to hear from you.
It just reminds me of like the Marianne Williamson quote,
Yeah.
which I get wrong every time I bring it up, but it's that like the greatest fear is not failure itself, but our actual like greatest potential. Like we often are more fearful of our greatest success than we are of our failure.
Yeah. Fear of success is a whole different one. I've looked at that a lot as well. And people tend to go one way or the other, but not always. Sometimes you can have fear of success in certain areas and fear of failure in other areas. But yeah, what if I am successful? What if my business does grow and I have so much work that I don't have any time for myself? And then my life gets super stressful again. And then I'm stuck in this situation. What if I'm so successful that I can't keep up with it, right? Anything else that anybody wants to share or any questions at this stage? Yeah, go ahead, Janice.
You're asking like, how do we reprogram self-sabotage? And, you're talking about awareness, but my issue is being over analytical and almost being stuck in too much awareness. So like what's important for me is to do it without judgment. Because that's the key to getting to the root of it and not being in shame. And I struggle with that, right? Because it drives me into shame. So what, like you said, journaling, which is like huge for me, it just like kind of, for me, it's taking space and the pause to identify the emotions and asking myself, when is the last time I felt this way in my life? Then kind of follow with like, what thoughts follow this, and maybe journal about the event or the interactions objectively, and my response and reaction. And then reaching out to people to reflect back to me that can actually match where I'm at, because I tend to choose people who actually hold me back in patterns. So
yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And anytime that we're having shame and guilt, again, that's the subconscious using those emotions to keep us small, to keep us safe, right? To stop us from doing those things that we're not meant to do, that we're not supposed to do, right? And shame and guilt, actually, I choose to have the point of view that it has no value. Shame and guilt has no value. It has an intention for value, which is to keep us safe and to stop us from doing naughty, bad things. But we can actually learn our lesson and choose not to continue on that pattern without the shame and without the guilt. And shame and guilt is a really big one for a lot of people. So thank you for being vulnerable and thank you for sharing. Yeah, and I get what you're saying, like the overanalyzing, the overthinking about things. And when we can take any of the judgment out of that process, then we're going to get to see just with curiosity, oh, this is the thought, which is what I heard you say you do. You look at it in a very objective instead of a subjective. Subjective is like, I am the subject, this is how I'm perceiving it. Objective is like how an alien would see it or a scientist would describe it, right? Like instead of like, oh my gosh, I'm having a panic attack, I'm feeling sensations in my chest. My breathing has increased. Things like just making it super objective, right? Awesome point. LEZ, is there anything that you want to share? Just intuitively felt called to call upon you?
So my question, I guess one of the things that I went back to is like, why am I self-sabotaging in relationship with other people when I can't control what someone else does, but like when I'm faced with someone who might challenge me, then I go into self-sabotage. And for me, that is my downfall of like just, ripping the carpet out from underneath myself. And when I met with somebody who is challenging me.
Yeah, sorry. I got a little bit distracted because new people were coming in and I was admitting people, but is there a question in what I was listening to your share, but is there a specific question? And if there is, would you mind repeating it? And I apologize and thank you.
No worries. So I'm looking for where the secondary gain is when I self-sabotage, when I'm met with someone who I'm in relationship with and I'm challenged by them. So that's like, how is that serving me? And so I guess that's something that I would like to uncover.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know for your specific reason, but when I'm doing that, it's so that I can take the responsibility off me and put it on them.
Or is it taking the responsibility off of them and putting it on yourself? Because for me, it's like, I don't want to challenge that person because it's uncomfortable to challenge them. So I'll just take it on myself. So I think that's the gain, is to
staying comfortable, not saying anything and just keeping everybody, but then what is the actual result is that you're not voicing your actual needs. And so there's no opportunity for them to be met.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another thing that's not necessarily like in this formula, but when we can take 100% responsibility for our experience, that the whole world opens up to you and you are completely empowered to create whatever the fuck you want.
Yes.
Is that what you needed, Allie? Anything else?
Yeah. No, I think I need to like sit with that a little bit because I've never thought about it that way. So thank you.
Yeah. Everybody get that? Yeah. When we can just start to get like really curious about what's going on instead of just being in the automatic pattern of it, is when we can really break free. Great. All right. So then the next question, this is all still part of step 1. Asking the question, what have you made that mean about you? Starting to look at that, right? So the examples that I have, like the fear of failure, like if I fail, what does that mean about me? It means I'm not good enough. I'm stupid. If I succeed, what does that mean? I'm too much. I'm not relatable. Right? And the other big fear is discomfort. We stop ourselves from doing things because we don't want to be uncomfortable. Like that one with Allie, that was like, I don't want to speak up because I don't want to be, that's going to be uncomfortable. So we sabotage ourselves with that by wanting to avoid discomfort. And if you are uncomfortable, what does that mean about you? It means that you've lost control, right? For example. Another fear can be rejection, fear of rejection. If our DNA is wired that rejection means death, because if we are rejected by our tribe, we will be left out for the wolves to eat us, right? So that's why in dating, in job situations, and any kind of interpersonal interactions, if you feel a feeling of rejection, you know that everything is going to be okay. You're still going to have a roof over your head. You're still going to, life is going to go on, but that feeling of rejection, actually the nervous system reacts to it as a life threat. And so what could that mean about you if you're feeling that rejected is, I'm not lovable, I'm not acceptable. Right? So just starting to look at all of this and then actually ask yourself, okay, these are the root fears. Do I actually even believe this? Does my fully formed prefrontal cortex, the logical brain, does it believe that I'm not good enough? Does it believe that I'm too much and not relatable? Does it believe that I could lose control? Does it believe that I'm not lovable? There's obviously part of you that believes that, but with your conscious, rational mind, I believe that everybody in this room is aware and conscious enough to know that that is not true. And all that it is the subconscious trying to keep us in survival, because we are all worthy of love. We are all deserving of the life that we desire, right? So often actually the opposite is what's true. And then that's what, with my clients, once we've uncovered this, that's what we do the reprogramming on. I've been to other people that do subconscious reprogramming, and they'll start on that surface level. Like, you know, I like to drink water before I go to bed instead of I drink a glass of wine before I go to bed. But it's not going to be sufficient in creating a new habit and behavior. What needs to happen is to get to the root cause of it, which
Can I
might
ask a
be,
question?
yeah, Amber.
Okay, so then like for November, I decided no TV, because that to me, like I stay up late because that's like my time, like by myself and whatever. But I've learned that like I self-sabotage it and then my day the next day is just completely awful. So even though I'm eliminating that habit, I could still like accidentally like go into something else though, is what you're saying? Like it doesn't fix the problem.
Yes. So taking the TV away is going to be an awesome opportunity for all of your stuff to come up, right? Because the TV is most probably you're using it to distract yourself from feeling whatever is there to feel. So removing the TV is a great step that you can take. If you do this work before and then choose to take the TV, it's going to be a lot easier. But either way, you're going to meet whatever you were trying to hide or distract yourself from. So with my clients, like doing this, uncovering this, coming to like, let's reprogram, I am worthy, I am loved, I am deserving, or whatever it is that's underneath, it's going to support you in changing that habit. It's going to make it easier. It's going to make changing that habit consistent. It's going to make it so that you actually do it for the entire month, and you have the skills and the support that when the stuff comes up and you find yourself turning that television on, or really, really, really wanting to, or eating bread when you said you weren't going to eat gluten, or like skipping yoga class even though you said you were going to go every day, you're going to have the tools and the accountability and the support from the coaching is incredibly helpful. And I'm not saying you can't do it on your own, but having the support and the coaching is what will streamline you in creating that new behavior. Make sense? Yeah. All right, I'm going to keep going. I can't believe we're already like 12 minutes till the end of this workshop because we're having so much fun, right? Okay, so step number 2 is to identify the thought you want to believe on purpose, right? So instead of that, I'm not good enough, the thought you want instead is, I am good enough. I am capable, right? If any of you guys are inspired, you can share in the chat a thought that you could see right now that would support you in overcoming whatever it is, the thing that you're wanting to overcome. Take a moment. And most of the time when you've gotten to the root, it's something very basic, like I love myself. I am worthy. I am deserving. I have everything I need. I am seen. I am worthy. I am connected. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. You can go really basic with this. Yes, Audrey, I am capable. Yeah. Yeah, so you can choose these. I call them mantras. Many people call them mantras, but you're going to have these anchoring thoughts that are going to support you in those times when you want to have the glass of wine the night before a big meeting. Or when you're at the birthday party and you've already had that one piece of cake that you said you'd have, but you find yourself and you're alone and you're in the kitchen and there's like cake everywhere and you don't want to have another piece of cake, but you find yourself eating it. That was me for a very, very, very long time. I am lovable. Miracles unfold before me. My dreams are becoming my reality. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. So this, you guys, this is not new information, right? You guys have heard this before. And sometimes it's so good to just be reminded and maybe hear it in a slightly different way. I value and trust myself. I'm safe with my own inner experiences. I love these. Asking for help will lead me to freedom, which is the word of the year, Chrissy. What's up, Tara? How can I support you?
I moved my Zoom and then all of a sudden I didn't see the mute button. So as someone who's been practicing this for a little while, what do you recommend when you are very aware, but you don't really have the pause down yet? So you know you're doing something that's self-sabotaging, but you don't quite have the pause where you can stop and drop into drop into like, this is a story I'm making up, right? Like, you're making up the stories, but you're not able to quite, I don't know, maybe I just judge myself too much because it's still happening.
Yeah.
Trying to think how to put this a little better, but
I understand exactly.
yeah, let me know what you got.
Yeah. I get it. It's like you're at the point of awareness, but you haven't shifted it yet. And so you're in this step, actually. You're in the step that I'm about to talk about, which is step number 3. So perfect segue. Thank you very much.
You're
Couldn't
welcome.
have planned that better. Step number 3 is practice. Repeat the new thought, interrupt the old thought. And you can do this through journaling, just simply redirecting your thoughts, making it your practice. And then my very favorite way, because it just shortcuts everything, is Psyche, which is subconscious reprogramming, which you do need to do with a facilitator. So when we do Psyche, it is a whole brain state. We go through the process, we reprogram the subconscious mind and create that as a new potential, which makes it a lot easier, right? Kat, would you mind sharing a little bit about your experience with Psyche and the work that we've done? Just anything that you feel like sharing.
Yeah, I've done psychotherapy and the healing work for 8 or 9 years, but it wasn't until we did the Psyche together, and Carrie led me through it, that I was able to cut these emotional cords, like these very intense subconscious like clingings that I did. And even though I was self-aware and I would pause, I would just keep going back into sabotage. But we had a couple really powerful sessions with Psyche where it was like, this trauma doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's not here. It's not, it's not a part of me. I no longer have to carry this baggage. I'm free. I'm a free person. And since then, it just says, I feel like rebirthed. I don't know, freer.
Thank you, Kat. I really appreciate you. I didn't ask her beforehand or anything to share. So I appreciate you being so open and vulnerable and willing to share that, because I can tell you guys, and I will tell you that it's changed my life, but hearing from somebody else in such like an authentic, way is really helpful. So thank you for sharing that for everybody. And you definitely don't need Psyche. It just makes it so much faster and more efficient. And efficiency is one of my energetic priorities. Efficiency is where it's at. I don't want to if I can do something in one session and have it shift as opposed to practice, right? But that is the other way. And that is available to absolutely everybody here. And I want to empower you with
Can I ask you a
that.
question, Carrie? Sorry to
Yes.
interrupt you. Psyche, is that are you talking about ketamine or what's Psyche?
No,
I don't
no,
know.
no.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no,
What's
no.
Psyche?
No.
Okay, I don't know what that is. So can you explain it, please?
Yeah, I can explain it briefly. I also did an entire workshop on that. So I have a YouTube video, but it's reprogramming the subconscious mind using a whole brain state. So it's similar to NLP, it's similar to hypnosis. And when it's combined with the kind of coaching that I do, it's an incredibly, incredibly helpful tool. So it is, what it does is it creates a new potential in the subconscious. And then you still have to act from that potential, which is what's made it so amazing for Kat, is she's not just coming to the session and having an hour session and then that's it. Every week we're choosing an action step. She's taking it into her life. She's integrating it. She's embodying it. And we're going to talk about that a bit more. We are definitely going to go over because we only have 3 minutes left. If anybody has to go, I love you. And I'm sorry that it's going over. I really do my best, but sometimes the energy flows this way. And I want to make sure all questions are answered. And there will be a replay if for whatever reason you have to go. Anyway.
Thank you, Carrie. Bye.
Bye. So, yes, practicing it, future journaling, in the Big Happy Money Mastermind, we write out our appreciations for money every single day, at least 5 of them, appreciations for our business. Just really, it's a practice, Tara. So it's like, just having the awareness is not enough. It's like, you might have heard of this analogy before. It's like a freeway where the cars have been going down it and they just zoom by and you can go 80 miles an hour, no problem. It's the Autobahn, you're going. As opposed to like off-roading and there's rocks and there's dust and there's, bushes in the way and you have to like click. So that's the road that you're going to be going on, because the other road you've gone on since you were a little kid, and it's the same road that everybody else is going on. And it's the road that like social media and marketing, everything, and, societal norms and everything has you going on. So it's going to feel uncomfortable. That's why having the Psyche is so supportive, but it is possible without that. It's just about practicing it on purpose and practicing it not only in the moment that it's happening, because sometimes you're going to have the awareness, but it's going to be too late because the cupcake's already in your belly, or the glass of wine, or whatever. You've already missed the yoga class, right? But then you're going to notice afterwards and you're going to do the work then. Sometimes you're going to notice right before you're putting the cupcake in your mouth, and you're going to eat the cupcake anyway. And then maybe next time you notice it then, and then next time you notice it earlier and earlier and earlier. Unfortunately, there's no way to avoid all of the discomfort. There's ways to reduce it and make it easier. But at some point, you have to befriend the discomfort and move forward despite it. Do you feel like I sufficiently answered your question? Even though it might not be the answer that you wanted.
No, that's a good answer, because, you know, I've done a ton of this work. And I think sometimes, I actually wonder if sometimes when we get into the personal growth work, it's very easy, at least in my case, it's very easy to judge that I'm not going fast enough. I'm not healing fast enough. despite like being able to look back and see how things actually have shifted, and I'm much more in alignment now than I was, say, 5 years ago. But yeah, that was really helpful. I'm curious about the psyche.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so that, and
As a
like
tool.
you can look at that thought of like, I'm not going fast enough, and how does that make you feel? And just for purpose of timing, I'm just going to go through it. It's most probably making you feel hopeless. And when you feel hopeless, what action do you take? Usually inaction. You're usually not doing much, right? Whereas if you can choose to have the thought, everything happens in divine timing, or even look how far I have come, look how much I have created, you know, either one of those thoughts is going to create a totally different feeling and a totally different action, which is going to create a totally different result. Okay. All right, so yeah, step number 4 is allowance, which is what we just talked about, which is befriending the fear or the resistance and taking action anyway. I like to say it's like you want to put your arm around it, except you can't see me because of the camera. Anyway, put your arm around it and you say, okay, I know you're here to try and keep me safe. We're moving towards that finish line together. You don't have to go anywhere. I understand your purpose, but I'm not going to let you stop me, right? And you keep moving forward. And then the last step is you celebrate. When we celebrate, we integrate. It's this feeling of it is done. So noticing, like Tara, you were saying, like my healing isn't fast enough, like noticing the ways that you have healed, noticing the accomplishments you have made, the advances that have been created in your life. And having gratitude, noticing all the baby steps along the way. All right, so that's the 5-step formula. And if you want it written down, you just need to drop me an email. I'll send you all the notes that I have from this call. And as you can see, when you break it down into these steps, each step is really simple and most probably not even brand new information to you. And I get that even though it's simple, it's not easy. That's why I do what I do. Because the ways that I have grown and expanded is by having the support of a coach, having the buy-in from my family. So it's really important, you guys, to have that. If it's your best friend, if it's your coach that you're currently working with. And I want to offer to everybody that's here, that's still here, that's live on this call, to do a session with me where we will go through all of these 5 steps. And we will do some of the subconscious reprogramming so that you can actually experience it for yourself. Because every single one of you can take what I learned, what I taught you today, and completely transform your life. But so often we come to these workshops and we learn something new, and we can be excited. And sometimes we apply it for a day or 2. Maybe if we're lucky, we apply it for a week. But without the support and without doing this in a consistent way, just like how Tara and I were talking about, actually having it as a practice, it's going to be a cool thing that you learned. And I want to make this a no-brainer for you guys to come and experience the magic that is alignment coaching with Carrie, and that is subconscious reprogramming. So anybody that signs up today in the next, I'm going to give it like until 4:30 my time, so like another 25 minutes, you can do a session for only $55. I've never offered a session this low before. I'm really, really excited to take the next step with you guys and to know that you've already got all of this information. Because usually this is what I'm teaching in the beginning when I'm coaching people is going over this. So you guys already have this piece. So you're going to come in prepared, ready to actually really change something big for only $55. So Audrey, she put, I called it Uncover Your Blind Spot. So you guys can go ahead and sign up for that. I'm only going to have it live for a short period of time, but I've opened up my calendar. I've made my hours a little bit longer so that there will be a time that's hopefully available for everybody. And this is the time right now. Because if you can imagine like continuing in the pattern that you've been in and think about what that's going to create 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. If you're avoiding that fear of failure, that fear of success, that discomfort, fear of rejection, or facing it and actually overcoming it so that it's no longer a part of your life. And it will support you in whatever the result is that you're wanting to create now, but will continue to support you because you will learn how to do this for yourself. That's what I'm about, is having my clients be fully self-sufficient and able to do this for themselves. Hell yeah. I'm like buzzing. This was so much fun. I appreciate all of you so much for being here. If you sign up for a session with me or not, you can take everything that you learn and completely transform your life. And I invite you to do that. I invite you to stay in touch with me. Let me know what continues to unfold after you've been here and experienced all of this. And if anybody does have a couple more minutes and would like to share what you got out of this workshop, I would love to hear. And if you don't want to share, I want you to at least think that for yourself, maybe journal it and just take a moment. Like, what did you get out of this workshop and how are you going to integrate it? How are you going to embody it? Because that's when the change starts to happen. Does anyone feel inspired to share? James.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie. This was wonderful, and it reminded me of work that I did many years ago with University of Santa Monica, and where there's an element of our subconscious that's really about supporting us to be safe. A voice that we had from our childhood. So, and I really, I've sort of got the awareness of the work in the background, but I hadn't been practicing it. And you just reminded me of how important that dive is, how important it is to take, is to go for that awareness and apply it. And so, that's my first next step is to work on some of these things, and maybe a session with you is appropriate. I haven't really concluded on that, but I appreciate what you shared today, and it really has rekindled my awareness of prior work and some good steps to take here in uncovering the things that keep me separate from my highest alignment. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, like I say over and over, this is universal truth, and it is coming through in my voice right? And these are not like completely original. I learned all of this from other places, but I've collected it and packaged it in a way that makes so much sense to me and makes it easy to understand for me. And that's what I offer my clients, is that you don't have to do that for yourself. This is, over 10 years of studying and receiving different coaching and everything that's brought it down to these 5 steps. So Janice, you know what, anybody that wants to reach out with more specific questions, you guys, I think you all have me on Facebook. Please reach out to me. I love you all, and I don't want to keep you any longer. Kat, I'm going to see you in 20 minutes. Thank you for being here with me, all of you. Mwah! Happy aligning.